What's up, guys? Ronin, man. One of the hardest things for men is to feel sexy. I really do. I really think this is like one of the most difficult things for guys. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, society does not give you any help on this one, right? There's no outward signs. And even women, even if they think you're sexy, they will not tell you. That is the strangest thing about women. I do not understand that. But for some reason, women will not tell guys that they think they're sexy. But they will show it in other ways. You know, there's other ways that they will let the cat out of the bag. But you got to really keep your eyes open to see these signs. You know, I remember one where I kind of figured it out over time. I had this girl, and I just considered, I don't know what it was about her, but something about her just made me want to just pound the shit out of her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It wasn't like any like specific thing. It wasn't like maybe you wouldn't have seen it in her, but it was something about with me and her. I just wanted I felt like she just needed her hips rammed into the fucking bed or wall every single day. And whenever I saw her, it was just like, had to happen, right? Not just sex, but just like, you know what I mean? And so one day she bought me a present. She went to some island, I can't remember where it was, somewhere near Guam or something. And so she came back and she got me this necklace, and it had like a big, huge tooth on it. Like it was like a massive tooth. It was like, I don't know how long it was, but it was huge, you know, maybe 4 inches long or whatever. And it was like fucking huge for a necklace on my fucking neck, right? And so she gave it to me, and she said, this reminds me of you, you know? And I looked at it, and it was like, she was like this really good girl on the outside. This girl, she was not, she was very conservative on the outside. And when I looked at it, and she said, it reminds me of you, I thought, fuck, you know, this girl, like, she's really appreciating this fucking sex, right? And I thought to myself, well, that's cool. Like, and I mean, I knew, like, you know, like her body was giving me signals like crazy that she was enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like, but she couldn't say it. She never said it. Like, you know, I mean, and I think a lot of guys, it's like a desert for men. Nobody ever tells a guy they're sexy. I don't know. Did they tell you? Do people tell you you're sexy? You know? And the thing is it's fucking important. It is fucking very important. Being sexy is very important. Why? Why is it important? Well, there's a few things in life that make life worth living. You know, there's things like you go to work, you do things that you don't want to do. You know, you might save money, but why do you do the things you do? Like what are the fundamental things that drive humans, right? You know, and one of them is like laughter, you know. Like laughter is so important. You know, it's so important. Oh man, when somebody loses laughter, that's when you know it's like it's towards the end, right? It's like, you know, somebody's super depressed and they never ever laugh. You know, that is a very bad sign. And also enjoying your senses, right? You know, like whether it's great food, when somebody's like very sick or very weak or very depressed or whatever, they don't enjoy the taste of food, right? It no longer makes them happy. Whereas, you know, you give like a happy, healthy person some good food that they like and they go crazy, right? You know, whether it's whatever you eat, meat or don't eat meat or whatever, you know, pizza might just drive them insane. You see them, they just got this huge smile and they just one of my friends, he ate a 16-inch pizza the other day. And I was like laughing because the guy, he just like mowed the whole thing down. I was like, whoa, I was like, okay. You know, he was, you know, and the thing is he was enjoying life. He's like drinking in life, you know, and that's a sign like that a lot of things are going well. Like I eat. I'm an eater, and I said before, like one of the sexiest things to me is a girl who eats. I really, a lot of girls, they, especially like, say you go on a first date or whatever. I mean, I don't take girls on dates, but let's just say you're with a girl the first time and you guys are not together yet and she doesn't eat, right? Like a lot of women, I don't know why they think they don't have to eat when they're with a guy, You gotta, the girl, if she doesn't eat, it's like, what does she do? Smoke or something? You're like, what the fuck, right? A girl who's just sitting there like munching down and eating and enjoying the taste and the flavor and just laughing and just eating, like that is sexy as fuck for me. That is super sexy because she's just enjoying it. She's not self-conscious. She's just, you know what I mean? That is a very, very sexy thing. So what is sexy, right? Like a lot of guys will think, I think guys in North America, what guys think are sexy is, to me, it's just absolutely lame. Like I just don't even get it. Like I can hardly watch Western porn. A lot of things that people think are sexy back home, they're not sexy to me. Fake boobs, not sexy. A lot of things that women do, like now that they think are sexy, like, I don't know, just stupid things. Like you watch a porn and the girl's like spitting on the guy's dick and slamming it down her throat. That's not sexy at all to me. I really, to me, that's like so lame because I know that doesn't turn a girl on. Like that just turns me off because like she's doing it as a show for me, right? Or for whatever. And she's like trying to show something or whatever. Whereas like something that's natural, that's like bubbling up from the earth, that is a very sexy thing, right? That is a naturally sexy thing, right? Now, I guess I should say that there's going to be exceptions, right? Everything has a place and time when it comes to sex. Like everything has anything can be sexy. Like literally anything can be sexy. Maybe once in my life, something can happen that just fucking sexy that night, like for whatever reason. That's why there's so many kinks out there, because it's like you might not find it sexy every night, but if you're with a lot of women, you'll realize that, wow, like almost anything that's a kink can be sexy for one night, right? So sex and kinkiness and sexiness is so complicated. It's really complicated. And a lot of guys, I think a lot of men have a very poor self-image of themselves when it comes to sex. Like they see themselves in I don't even want to describe it because it's so depressing. But I think as a man, I think you need a few things. You need to have a few things. And one of them is, confidence, where you're just like, you're going to stroll through life. Like there's nothing good about a man who lacks confidence. Like there's nothing good. And I don't mean like overconfidence. I mean just confidence, And if you had a son, like you don't want the guy not to be confident. You want him to think, hey, I'm going to attack the world, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it. That kind of confidence. And I think when it comes to sex, is like women are the ones, society's always like, every single magazine and every fucking story and this and that. I mean, women, and just think about it. Like every single thing a woman does can be considered sexy by society. And every movie, every song, every, conversation is about that was sexy or shit. And then girls will say, like if you're talking to girls and you're listening to them, they'll say, that's sexy? Like guys think that's sexy? It's always about girls, right? It's never about guys. Nothing sexy is ever about guys in my experience. Like you see society, it's just never. The only ones who do it are gay guys. Gay guys talk about guys being sexy. I remember when I was in high school, I was laying down on this couch and I was over at my friend Tom's house. Tom was a fucking cool guy. I was with his sister, but so Tom was sitting there and I was on the sofa. I think we were listening to a baseball game or something, and the sun was coming in. It was this beautiful day, and I was in Laguna Beach, man. And I was just sitting there, and And then this guy came in who was his landlord, and he said, "You look like a Greek god," you know, and I was like, "What?" You know, I realized the dude was gay, right? For one thing, I didn't know. Like, I just thought he was his landlord. I had no idea, but he was like completely, you know, obviously gay, and I was like, it was a weird feeling. I was like, no one had ever told me I was sexy before. Like, women never, you know, verbally, outwardly said that. And it was kind of interesting to me. I was like, that's interesting. Like, gay guys actually verbalize this shit, you know? Whereas girls, like, it's obvious they think guys are sexy, right? I mean, otherwise they wouldn't have sex. They wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, women think guys are sexy, but why don't they say it? I don't know. Women just will not say it, you know? I was part of this... it was an online group, and women, it was mostly women, and they would talk about all kinds of honest things because there wasn't many guys in there. And I remember some of the girls would say, you know, basically, I miss my ex, like, he fucked me so good. Like, I miss sex with him, you know? And they would get into very details about it, you know? And the other girls would be like, you got to get over it, blah, 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 blah. But what was weird about it was, because it was all girls, and they would describe in detail, like, about why he was sexy and what they missed. And I thought to myself, that's so weird, because I can guarantee that girl would never tell the guy what she was describing about him. And if the guy knew that she was kind of addicted to sex with him, that would be like that would like fire the guy up. Like, that would like give him like confidence and like make him feel good, you know? Like we men are always trying to make women feel good. I mean, we think of anything to do, you know, to make women feel good, but women, like, it's almost like they go out of their way not to tell guys they're sexy, not to describe things, you know? And I think part of it is like, maybe it could be like I was saying, like the girl gave me the necklace. Maybe it's some kind of shyness. Maybe it's like they're trained not to. I don't know what the reason is, but that can't be all of it. I think a lot of it is they don't want guys. They want to have control. I think. I really think that's a part of it. They don't want guys to think they're sexy because they'll cheat. Maybe because they'll get more women. Maybe because part of it could be. Now, this is not on the bad side, this could be on the good side, is when you tell somebody something that makes them self-conscious and kind of ruins it, you know? Like, if you tell somebody, like, when you do this one thing, it's very this or that, very funny or very sexy, it makes somebody very self-conscious, and so they tend to maybe do it too much, or you know what I mean? Like, it kind of fucks it up a little bit. So part of it, you don't really want to tell you know, like, when it comes, sexiness is so complicated. So I guess I can kind of see why women don't do it. But I personally really like it when a girl tells me, you know, like I really, it gives me a perspective on her vision of me. And that is good. That really helps me. Like, helps me to understand what the fuck is going on. You know, I remember one girl told me, she said that when she wore my shirts, you know, like in the morning or whatever, she wore my shirts, she would smell me and she felt very sexy. She felt, you know, and she would think about me all day. And I remember thinking, okay, smell, right. And my shirt, like my clothes that touch my skin. And then I'll remember after she told me that, when I would be with a girl and I guess I could see more inside a girl's mind after these kind of things. And it was good. It was very good. It helped me to understand, because I think guys are very clueless, but when it comes to what makes them sexy, what is sexy? I had many girls tell me, and I just like could not understand it, that my hands are sexy. I have no idea why, but really, even today, I don't know why. But I've had a lot of women tell me that my hands are sexy. And so the thing is like when a guy is trying to, see himself, it's very difficult to kind of grasp a woman's mind when it comes to this stuff, because you don't want to have this like fake image of yourself as like becoming a porn star if you're not. Like that does not help. Like fake things do not give confidence. So you need to kind of get into reality when it comes to this stuff. Like what is it about you that is sexy? And there is something, I guarantee you. I know a lot of women, definitely a man's voice is a big thing. And not every guy, obviously, but some guys, women really think their voice is sexy. And it tends to be guys with lower voices. And, that is, so it's often not something visible. It's something like a smell, a sound, some kind of action. Like I said, it could be like clothing. It really could be any number of things that guys really don't get. I think a guy's eyes, women will. I had one woman tell me, was very interesting for me, and she said that when I met you, when I looked in your eyes, she said they scared me. Like your eyes, your eyes scared me. And she said, and I had known her for a long time. I had been with her for a long time, and she was one of my very good girls. And she said, basically didn't say it, but she basically hinted to me that it was over. Like it didn't feel that way anymore. She didn't feel scared of my eyes anymore. And then I realized it was over with her. Like it was kind of like she was that was her way of telling me. Like it was she was not really telling me. She was just like verbalizing something. Is that there was something scary in my eyes. And that sounds weird, right? Because you think, well, why would a woman be scared or whatever? There is an aspect. I mean, sexuality and sensuality is so complicated. It's so complicated that there's no one factor. There's no one way to like pin it down. Like, here's what it is. Here's what it isn't. It's like no. It's very, very fluid and very, very complex and very, very primal. It's like not even something that you can verbalize. And once you verbalize it, like I said, sometimes that ruins it by just even saying it, And so I think that sometimes I find out, so she found my eyes sexy, that girl. And she had brown eyes. She found my blue eyes sexy, right? So that sometimes I find out when I lose it with a girl. I find out what she thought was sexy before. So you have to really watch very closely to see the things about yourself that are sexy so that you can get a perspective on who you are. And also what you offer to the world, right? And I remember I have a friend of mine, he's a famous pickup artist, right? And we were out and I was watching him, and he was like, we were both talking to girls, like we were at a bar, we were talking to girls, and he had a kind of funny thing. I talked to this girl first, and I had her laughing and everything, and then he came up, and it was like, for him, it was like a challenge. Like if a guy had a girl at the bar, he would come in and try to like get her, like that turned him on. That was like the hottest thing for him. Like, come in, some guy's got a girl and you like get her, And so he came up and I was talking to this girl and she was like really laughing and really having a good time. We were in Chicago and we were like sitting there. It was a cool bar and everything. And I was kind of watching him because he's like this guy's super famous, right? Pickup artist. And I was like watching because I was thinking, interesting, what can I learn from, this guy, right? He's also a very good friend too. So, that's the main reason I was actually hanging out with the guy. But I was also thinking like, that's interesting. Like, what can I learn here? And he came up and he basically stole her from me, that girl. Not completely. She was still into it, but like he came in and he was like, he just looked at her and there was something in his eyes. There was something like, it was almost like lasers were coming out of his eyes, and I was like, whoa, that's interesting, So afterwards I asked him, I said, what were you thinking? Like, what were you kind of thinking? And he wouldn't tell me. And then one of his good friends, he said, he imagines himself as a god, and I thought, a god? And that's interesting because he would never tell anybody like his secret there, right? Is that he thinks of himself like a god. And so it made me think like one way to change your image of yourself is an NLP technique, which I forget what the name of it is, but Richard Bandler came up with this one. And it's a very powerful technique that you can try. And again, none of these things are perfect. None of these things are perfect solutions that always work and forever and this and that. It's like you do things and it's almost like exercise. You're doing stuff that's going to help you, and maybe it'll be the thing that'll be great for you. Maybe it'll just be one good thing that you did, right? But this technique that he had is he would imagine himself going to a movie theater. Okay, so everybody's at the movie theater, they're all watching the movie. And then he would see himself up on stage. And when he would get on stage in his mind, like basically on the screen, he would start as like far away. So he's like walking towards, so imagine it's like a desert scene or something, right? There's not much else to see, and he's walking up. And then he gets bigger and bigger and bigger as he gets. And when he starts out, he's kind of like black and white, and there's like no sound. Okay, so then he comes closer and closer and closer, and he becomes color, and then you can hear him and see him. So there's visual, there's audible, obviously not smell on a movie, but there's every like thing that brings something alive, right? So it starts out kind of dead. He's like black and white, almost like they imagine like a black and white cowboy and Indian movie or something, right? Where he's like in the distance and he's coming up. And then as he comes up, it's like brighter and brighter and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually he covers the whole screen, his mind. And he looks up at himself and he, okay, so you imagine you're sitting in the front seat of a movie theater and you're watching, and then you yourself is coming up on stage and you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more powerful and more, you can feel the image, like you can feel the voice is like booming in the fucking theater, and the laughter and the smile, like the grin. When a guy's got a grin, it's kind of like he knows he's the shit. It's like the grin and the laughter, and it's like it's mesmerizing. It's taking over the whole like theater, and you imagine yourself getting bigger and bigger. As where it's just it's like imagine like a 40-foot you, just like huge, looking down and smiling and like absolutely charismatic and taking over the whole scene, and you feel like wow, like whoa, look at that, and that's you up on the stage, and that image when you create that image in your mind, it's very powerful. I found. That is a very, NLP is very, I studied NLP for years. NLP has some powerful techniques, and this God technique is like, or theater technique or whatever you call it. It's really good. Like if you ever feel like very small and meaningless or whatever, take yourself out to the movie theater and imagine yourself like doing that. And again, it's like starts out as silent with no emotion, black and white, far away, very small, and then getting larger and larger and brighter, and sound and colors and like just taking over, and you're almost like your head's like leaning back, like, whoa, what the fuck, right? And that's the, like, you're blown away by the screen, right? Imagine the scene. And as you try these techniques, as you practice these techniques, you get better and better at them. So when you first do something like this, it doesn't really, maybe you're not, you know what I mean? Like, you actually get better at these things. So try these things. And this is a powerful technique, whether you want to be sexy, you want to feel sexy, you want to bring out your sexiness. You can, like I said, you can look for clues in what people have said to you or given you, or the way they look at you, or whatever it is. And you can also do that NLP technique. And that is a very good technique, especially if you want to, let's say you want to make a sales pitch, or you want to make a presentation. So you want to make yourself larger, you want to make yourself more powerful, right? These type of techniques are extremely powerful. And the opposite is also true for this technique. So if you want to take, let's say that you have an image in your mind of a girl who did something very mean to you, or something very bad happened to you, right? And you want to forget this, you want to get this out of your mind. What you do is you imagine it going from big screen color sound, to like smaller and smaller and smaller, and black and white and farther away, and like maybe even like, like a frozen, at the end you can have a frozen ice. I talked about this before, this technique, this one here, the taking away and making it smaller and black and white and sepia, and then like imagine like a 3-foot thick glass, or 3-foot thick ice, coming over the top of that picture, which is black and white, and then it's getting smaller and smaller and harder to see, and you're floating up in a balloon where, like, you can't even see where the picture was originally, and then you go higher and higher, you can't even see what country it was in, and then eventually the Earth is smaller and smaller, and you're out in space, and you don't even know which one was the Earth, and then you go farther and farther away, and you're out of the Milky Way, you're out of the universe, you're into, like, you're going away from the whole universe. That technique where you're going farther and farther away, and the sound goes away, the color goes away. And that technique will allow your brain to, take away the power of a thought. So you can use it both ways, right? So if something bad happened to you, or something keeps going in your mind, do that technique. Just try it. I'm telling you, it's very, very effective. And the other technique, which is when you want to accentuate something or bring something out of yourself, that's when you want to do the opposite, where it starts out black and white, and then it gets stronger and stronger and more powerful. You could even imagine, like, this screen, you're busting through the screen, you're 40 feet tall, then you're 100 feet tall, then the roof breaks on your back, and you, like, bust out like the Green Giant, like this huge thing looking down and stomping and moving the earth, and you could even have, like, sound too, where, like, like an orchestra comes out, and they're like playing music. They're like, like whatever it is or a band or whatever, like the music, and people are laughing and smiling, and the sun is out, and you're becoming more and more powerful, where you're like tall as the moon, or whatever. These techniques, try it. So the smaller, like forgetting, and then the confidence building, and you lose nothing by increasing your confidence and by allowing yourself to let go of things that you're ready to let go of, negative memories, things that you're done with, right? That the ability to control your thinking and your emotions, and we started with sexiness, right? Your ability to think about yourself is very, very important. It's very, very powerful. I recommend getting control and taking responsibility for your own feelings and emotions. And these are a couple of very powerful techniques that you can do, because in the end, you're responsible. You're responsible for your life. You're responsible for how you feel. It's not something totally out of your control. It is not. A man has control of his life. And And your emotions and thoughts are one of the most important and powerful parts of your life, right? And a lot of guys that are just out of control, they just like, they think they have no control of their life. They like, life, it's just not true. It's not true. All right, guys, I'm off. I'm going to go fucking eat some dinner or some breakfast. And I said dinner because I'm going to totally munch out and then meet a friend of mine. It's Saturday morning. It's going to be a killer day. I'm going to watch maybe catch the highlights of the Warriors game and the MGTOW World Summit's coming up in a few days, so I'm really looking forward to it. Guys are starting to straggle in. It's going to be fucking awesome. So hope you guys have a nice weekend, and I hope that technique, try this technique. Try it. Might feel very awkward at first, but both getting smaller, getting bigger, depending on what you want, what you're trying to do. And I can tell you guys, you are sexy, okay? You are. It is something in you. It is something so deep and so primal. And I hope that this also, knowing that you are, gives you motivation to improve yourself, right? You want to be more confident. You want to be more sexy, right? And that's why, that gives you motivation to go lift weights and do that extra rep and to do that run and to do that swim and to do that whatever it is that you do to get yourself in better physical shape, right? Which is also very much a part of being sexy as a man. So don't forget society, forget what everybody tells you about yourself. Boring, forget it. In your mind is where it all happens. And then it comes out on the outside. It starts right inside your mind, and people feel it and people sense it. And people will accept it. But it has to start with you. All right, guys, take it easy. Have a good one.